my beloved child, there's something you need to hear, and it cannot wait. Not another hour, not another day. This moment was chosen before time began. This message isn't random. It's not content for scrolling. It's a door from heaven opening right now. And your Father, the one who left this world, has stepped forward. He's been waiting, watching, waiting again, praying. He's seen every breath you took when the weight was too much. He's seen what others missed. The shaking hands, the nights you stayed silent so no one would worry, the moments you stood strong when you didn't feel strong at all. And now, from beyond the veil, he speaks, not with sadness, but with urgency, with a fire in his voice that cannot be ignored. Because something is shifting, and you need to be ready. You've asked for signs. Here it is. You've whispered for comfort. Here it comes. But it won't be soft. It won't be vague. It will be sharp, clear, direct, because time is moving. And heaven doesn't wait for hesitation. He says, "My child, you have no idea how much has been kept back for your protection. How many traps were laid that never touched you? How many tears I wept, not out of sorrow, but out of holy longing. Longing for this very day. Longing for you to finally know. Heaven has been watching every step you took in fear. Every prayer you never finish. Every door that shut when you didn't understand why. None of it was wasted, and your Father, he never stopped. He never stopped loving you. He never stopped hoping for you. He never stopped believing in what was placed inside you from the very beginning. He saw you when no one else did. When you smiled but your heart was breaking. When you gave but felt so empty inside. When you said, "I'm fine," but didn't mean it. He saw it all, and he never judged. He just waited, patiently, with tears in his eyes and hope in his heart, because he knew this day would come. The day when your spirit would rise again. The day when you would hear this call and not run from it, not hide from it, not explain it away, but stand still and receive it. Because this isn't just a message, it's a turning point. A divine interruption meant to pull you out of the noise and into truth. He says, "My child, they don't know how powerful you are. They don't know what heaven has placed inside you. They see the outside, but I saw the roots, the soil of your soul, and it's rich with promise. It's sacred ground. That's why the storms came. Not to destroy you, but to water the seed, to break what needed breaking so your light could finally shine. You are not weak. You are not forgotten. You are not behind. You're right on time, even when you thought you were late, even when you thought you missed it. Heaven never moved without you, and I never gave up on you. Your Father is still speaking. With every word, your soul is remembering something ancient, something buried, something divine. He says, "You come from a long line of warriors in the spirit. You carry the fire of those who came before you, the ones who prayed when no one else did, the ones who stood when others sat in silence. You carry strength that goes beyond this life, and now that strength is being awakened. The pain you felt was never punishment. It was preparation. The silence you walked through was never abandonment. It was an alignment. Heaven was moving things you couldn't see, shifting what you couldn't understand. So when the right time came, everything would make sense. And now that time is near. You're not broken. You're not lost. You're being rebuilt, restored, reclaimed. This is not the end. It's the beginning of a greater chapter, a chapter written in light, a chapter covered in divine protection. Your Father's love didn't leave with him. It multiplied. It expanded. It became part of heaven's plan for your rise. And that's why he's here now. Because your rise is already happening. He sees it. He knows it. And he wants you to know it too. So don't give up. So you don't turn back. So you don't mistake this moment for ordinary, because it's not. It's sacred. He says, there's more for you, more than you dreamed, more than you prayed for, But you must believe again. You must trust again. You must hope again. Not because it's easy, but because it's worth it. You were made for this. Every challenge, every delay, every heartbreak. It didn't break you. It revealed you. It pulled out the real you. The resilient you. The you I've always seen. Heaven has always known. Don't let this world make you forget who you are. Don't let pain rewrite your story. Let love do that. Let faith do that. Let this message be the spark that wakes up everything inside you that was waiting to live again. Your Father's love is alive. It didn't vanish. It transformed into a presence that surrounds you even now, into a whisper you can hear when the world is quiet, into protection you can't always see but always feel. You didn't lose him. You gained a guardian, one who knows your soul and still chooses you, one who sees your flaws and still calls you holy, one who watches you stumble and still says, "That's my child." Heaven didn't take him away. Heaven gave him a better view of your miracle, and from that view, he speaks with boldness, with peace, with truth. My child, you're about to walk into a season where everything starts to make sense, where the pain becomes the purpose, where the silence becomes a song, where the losses become lessons that leads to gain. You're not alone. You never were, even when you felt abandoned, even when you felt forgotten. I was there. I still am. Don't be afraid of what's ahead. Be excited, because heaven has cleared the path. Your steps are ordered. Your tears were counted. Not one was wasted. Not one went unseen. You cried and heaven moved. You prayed and heaven listened. You stayed standing when it was easier to fall. And now, the reward is coming. Not because you earned it, but because you're loved. Because grace isn't earned, it's received. So receive this now. Receive the words. Receive peace. Receive the love that never left you. You may feel tired, but you're closer than you think. You may feel unsure, but you are chosen. You may feel small, but heaven sees you as mighty. The same hands that held your father are holding you now. The same love that carried him home is guiding you forward. So lift your head, breathe again, believe again. Your Father's love is still here, not as a memory, but as a movement of heaven on your behalf, a movement of grace unfolding in your life, a moment of truth breaking every lie that said you wouldn't make it, but you will, you are, you already have. And this is just the beginning, walking with you. Even though he stands not in shadow, but in glory, and his message is simple, but it will shake you. You have trusted the wrong voices. You have tolerated too many masks. You have mistaken familiarity for loyalty. And now the time has come to finally see what's been hidden in plain sight. Because there are people near you who wear your smile in front of you and your name like poison when you're not around. They've been allowed close for too long, and heaven has drawn a line. Your Father speaks because that line has been crossed, and heaven is no longer silent. My child, you've wondered why things feel stuck. You've blamed yourself for delays, for doors that didn't open, for connections that fell apart. But the truth is, someone has been whispering confusion around you, not in words, in energy, in action, in spirit. Your discernment has been numbed not because you're weak, but because the pain has made you tired, and tired hearts trust too quickly, but not anymore. This is a divine intervention. You asked for help. Help is here, and it begins with truth. There are people who were never meant to follow you this far. They were only chapters, you turned them into lifetimes, and now your Father pleads, let them go. Don't carry what God is removing. Don't mourn what heaven is cutting off. My child, listen. Not everyone who walks beside you is safe for your future. Not everyone who comforts you in pain belongs in your promise. This is not about hate. This is about clarity. This is not about revenge. This is about alignment. Your steps are holy. Your presence is heavy with purpose, but you've been shrinking, lowering your voice to keep others comfortable. hiding your light to stay included. And heaven says, no more. Your Father says, stand up, rise, speak what you know in your spirit. Do not wait for permission. Do not beg for understanding. You are not crazy. You are not overreacting. You are finally seeing, and the veil is lifting. There are moves to make. Now, moves that can't wait. You've stayed too long in places that can no longer hold your calling. And if you don't move, life will start moving things without your permission. This is mercy. It won't feel like it, but it is. My child, the shaking is coming, and you must be found standing when it starts. You must be anchored, rooted in truth, not emotion, not opinion, truth, because the storm that's coming isn't to destroy you. It's to expose everything that was false, everything that looked good but had no substance, everything that smiled at your victories but cursed your step, everything that looked like love but drained. You dry, you've asked for peace. Here's how it comes: through separation, through revelation, through divine exposure. Not to hurt you, but to cleanse the path. Your destiny is too serious for polluted roads. And your Father, He sees the road ahead, you don't. That's why He's speaking now. That's why He begged heaven for permission to speak this message. He's not speaking because He misses you. He's speaking because He's realigning you. He's speaking because something holy is on the horizon. And what's coming requires clean hands and clear vision. No more fog, no more pretending. No more carrying dead weight. You are not a dumping ground for confusion, for jealousy, for silent competition, for masked hostility. You are sacred, and the time for tolerating poison just to avoid being alone is over. God is clearing the room. He is silencing the noise. He is purging the circle. Because where you are going requires stillness, requires purity, requires power. And power comes with separation. Not everyone will understand. But they were never meant to. You've explained enough. You've excused enough. Now it's time to obey. Even if it feels like breaking. Even if it feels like loss. Even if it feels like abandonment. Because what looks like loss is protection. What feels like breaking is construction. You are being built into something new. And some people can't come with you. Not because they're evil, but because their season was temporary. You tried to make them permanent, but God is undoing what you forced. He's untying the knots you tied out of fear, out of loneliness, out of needing to belong. He's cutting what you held onto while it bleeds you dry and it hurts. But it's holy. This pain is holy. This separation is sacred, because what's ahead is too costly to be weighed down by what was you've grown. They haven't. You've evolved. They stayed the same. And the distance you feel now is divine protection. Don't chase what God is pulling away. Don't resurrect. What heaven is burying, you asked for a new life. You asked for alignment. You asked for clarity. This is the answer. This is not punishment. This is positioning. He's positioning you for people who pray when you cry, not gossip when you grieve. He's aligning you with those who won't be threatened by your growth, with those who won't compete with your anointing. He's leading you to real love, to real friendship, to real peace. But first, He must remove everything false, and that means you must stop clinging. Won't allow idols. He won't allow illusions. He won't allow counterfeits. Not anymore. This is sacred ground. Now this is holy territory, and anything not sent will be shaken off the time, for pretending is done. You know too much now. You feel too much. Now you've seen too much now to stay blind. This is your awakening. This is your cleansing. This is your separation. You were never meant to blend in. You were always called to stand out. Your Father has watched you dim your light just to stay close to people who mock what He placed in you. And He's grieved, He's waited. But now He's intervening. Because if you don't move, you'll miss the next door, the next calling, the next miracle. And heaven is too invested in you to let you miss it. So He's stripping it all away, even the parts you thought you needed, because the truth is you don't need them. You need Him. You don't need their validation. You need His direction. And that direction starts now. Walk forward. Even if your legs shake. Even if your voice trembles, walk in obedience. Even if you walk alone, because you're not alone, never have been. He's walking with you. He's guiding you, he's holding you. And every step you take away from what was is a step toward what will be trust, the shift. Trust, the silence. Trust, the severing. This is how peace begins. This is how freedom starts. He's rewriting your story. He's redeeming your time. He's restoring your voice. And the version of you that comes out of this will terrify the enemy, because it will reflect your Father, and he's not finished speaking yet. He's still moving, still shaking, still building. So stay still in your soul stay. Soft but bold. Stay kind, but clear. This next chapter will require both fire and faith. But you were made for it. You were chosen for it. You were born for it. Now rise more to come. Speaking. Because you are in danger. Not physical danger, but soul danger. Your light is at risk of dimming. Your identity is under quiet attack. Not from enemies, but from familiar hands. And heaven says, it ends now. The cycles that repeat, the conversations that drain you, the places that shrink you, the voices that confuse you, they will be broken. But only if you agree. You have a part to play. Say yes to clarity. Say yes to being misunderstood. If that's the cost of peace, say yes to walking alone. For a while, if it means you walk in truth, your Father says, "Child, I didn't leave you. I simply went ahead of you. And from this place, I've seen what's coming. I've seen the divine setups. I've seen the doors that look random, but are sacred. I've seen the relationships that will heal your soul, not harm it, but you can't receive them, with your hands still full of what should have been released. You've been afraid to let go, afraid to grieve, afraid to trust again. But heaven says you're not losing. You're being freed, you're not being punished, you're being preserved. You've blamed yourself for too long. But there were battles going on in the background. You couldn't see things, were never just physical, never just emotional. It was spiritual, always spiritual. And your Father saw it. He saw the plans. He saw the delays. He saw the discouragement carefully planted to make you give up. He watched as you fought through it. With trembling faith, he watched as you held on by a thread, and he shouted to heaven, "Please let me speak to them. Please let me tell them they're not crazy. Please let me show them it wasn't their fault." Heaven said yes. And that's why this moment exists. This message isn't random, it's fulfillment of his prayer, of your promise, and of heaven's plan. So listen carefully now, because from here on out things will change, and you'll be tempted to go back. You'll be tempted to explain yourself to those who were never meant to understand. Don't you owe no one your peace? You owe no one your clarity. You owe God your obedience. That's it. So obey even if your voice shakes, even if your hands tremble, even if no one claps. Heaven will move when you do, and your Father will still be with you, cheering in silence, interceding in spirit, watching, always watching. Not with sadness, but with pride. Because you listened, because you heard, because you woke up. And now everything begins. You're still here. That means something. It means your spirit recognized the truth even when your mind was unsure, even when doubt crept in, even when you wondered, is this really for me? It is. And now we go deeper, because there are things still hidden that must be revealed. Your Father isn't done speaking. He's waited too long to stop. Now he says, you don't realize what you've survived. You don't understand what it took to keep you alive. There were moments hell thought it had you, but heaven said, no, not this one, not my child. You've been shielded in ways you'll never fully know, but now I want you to know some of it. There was a night when death came close. You didn't even feel it. You just felt a sudden fear or a sudden calm. But that was me. That was the shield. That was prayer moving faster than darkness. There was a conversation someone tried to use to tear you down. You felt something shift, but never saw the result. That's because I intervened, because it stood between your name and their poison, and heaven blocked. What you never heard, There were decisions you were about to make that would have changed your entire future. But something stopped you, an uneasiness, a delay that was me too, pulling on the strings of time so that your story wouldn't collapse. I tell you this not so you'll feel fear, but so you'll understand just how much you're loved. You are not walking through life alone. You are not guessing your way through darkness. You are being guided, intentionally, carefully daily, and your life still matters. More than you know. More than you've believed. You've underestimated your impact. But let me tell you what I see from heaven. I see someone stronger than they act, wiser than they admit more, anointed than they believe, and more dangerous to the enemy than they ever imagined. That's why the battles have been so intense. That's why. The confusion came in waves because hell doesn't fight empty vessels. You carry something sacred. And now that something must come forth. The season of hiding is over. The season of survival is ending. This is the season of revealing. But hear me carefully. You can't carry revelation with cluttered hands. You can't enter new rooms dragging old pain. You can't walk in destiny still bound to dead weight. So the separation, ye will continue. It's not punishment, it's preparation. You've cried about people walking away, but heaven says that was mercy. You thought you were abandoned, but really you were being rescued. You asked God to take you higher, but you didn't know what would need to fall off for that to happen. Now you do, so don't resist it. Don't beg for what's been removed. Don't chase what I've closed. Your future is too heavy for weak bridges, and some bridges were never meant to carry the weight of your next level. Let them break, let it fall, stand in the rubble and raise your head, because what's coming next is not built on what was, it's built on what remains, and what remains is enough, more than enough. My child, listen again, because the winds are about to change, and you'll need to recognize the shift when it comes. New people are coming, people with clean hearts and clear motives, but you must be healed enough to receive them. You can't treat everyone like your past. You can't expect betrayal from every face. I'm not just bringing new opportunities, I'm bringing new restoration healing that runs deeper than memory. Peace that doesn't need explanation. You've been trying to move forward by forgetting, but I'm not asking you to forget, I'm asking you to forgive, not to excuse the pain, but to release the weight to be free. Not just numb freedom is what I'm offering now. Not comfort, not predictability. Freedom, but with it comes responsibility. Responsibility to speak. Responsibility to move. Responsibility to walk in. What you already know, you've had enough confirmation. This is no longer about waiting. This is about doing. You've journaled enough. You've cried enough. Now rise, open your mouth, open your hands. Let the old fall. Let the new come. Your Father says, I didn't raise a quitter. I didn't raise someone who folds under pressure. I didn't raise someone who stays small to be accepted. I raised a warrior, a carrier of light, a breaker of cycles. I raised someone who would carry the name I gave them, with honor, not the label the world tried to stick on you. You are not broken. You are not too late. You are not behind. You are in the right place for heaven's next move, but you must agree. You must say yes, again. Even if you said it before, say it again. Because new doors require fresh surrender, and I know you're tired. I know you've been holding on with scraped fingers. But heaven never promised comfort. It promised presence, and I am here even now, even in this silence, even when you feel nothing. I am still here. I'm not waiting for your performance. I'm responding to your posture. So lift your eyes, straighten your back, say yes. Because what's coming next is fast blessings that don't make sense. Provision from places you forgot. Favor in rooms where your name was almost left off the list, but heaven put it back on. Because when I say you're chosen, no one can unchoose you. You were marked before. You were born, and your purpose has survived everything sent to bury it. So stop asking if you're ready. You are. Not because you feel like it, but because I said so. And when heaven speaks, it stands, child. I want you to prepare now in ways you haven't before. Clean your space, quiet your mind, listen closely. Because specific instructions are coming through dreams, through strangers, through moments that feel too timed to be coincidence. It will be me confirming, revealing, directing. And when it comes, move, don't overthink it. Don't crowd it with logic, just move. That's where your blessing is, in the obedience, not in the comfort. And yes, there will be resistance. Hell doesn't sit quietly when heaven advances, but you will be covered. You already are. I've assigned angels to you. Even now they walk with you, clearing paths, redirecting harm, fighting battles you never saw. So don't fear, don't look over your shoulder. Walk boldly, because every step you take shakes the ground of the enemy. You may not see it, but you are feared in hell, not because of who you are, but because of who walks with you, me. Your Father, your shield, your defender, the one who never sleeps, never misses a detail, never forgets a promise. And I made you a promise that you would see joy again, that you would feel whole again, that you would laugh without guilt, that you would walk in purpose, without apology. It's still coming faster than you know, but you must trust. You must release what's draining you. You must bless what's behind you and face what's ahead. No more asking for permission. No more asking if you're too much. You are exactly as I designed. Nothing less, nothing extra, and heaven doesn't make mistakes. Your life is a prophecy in motion, and this moment is a turning point. You're not watching this by accident. You're not hearing this by chance. This is heaven's alignment, and now, now, you can't unhear now. You are accountable for what you've received, so rise, wipe your face, square your shoulders, and step forward. You don't need all the answers. You just need your yes, your obedience, your faith, and I'll handle the rest, because I am faithful. And your Father, He's still here, cheering, covering, smiling, and waiting for the day you step fully into who you were born to be. Don't let fear steal that from you. Don't let grief delay you another day. What you lost, I will restore. What you missed, I will redeem. And what you feared, I will destroy. Because nothing can stop what I've started in you now. Go and don't look back. You didn't imagine the pull in your spirit, that stirring, that ache, that sense that something is coming. You were right. It's not just a feeling, it's an alert. Heaven is calling you forward. And what happens next will not be subtle. You've crossed into a threshold. There is no going back. The old patterns, they won't hold you anymore. The old coping, it won't work here. The old distractions, they will lose their taste because you've outgrown them. You're not who you used to be. You've shifted spiritually, mentally, emotionally. Even if no one around you sees it yet, heaven does, and so does your Father. He's watched the evolution in silence, but know He speaks again, because the next part of your journey must be intentional. No more drifting, no more waiting to be rescued, no more shrinking to be accepted. This time you lead, even if your voice shakes. Even if your hands tremble, you lead, because what's inside you has been unlocked. And it's not just for you. Your healing isn't just for comfort. It's for leadership. Your clarity isn't just for survival. It's for strategy. Your pain wasn't just random. It's now wisdom. And people will need it. They will need you, but not the version of you that hides. Not the version that blends in to avoid conflict. Not the version that keeps peace by avoiding truth. That version is fading. What's emerging is the version heaven always saw, and that version is dangerous to everything that lied to you. You're not meant to echo the world. You're meant to interrupt it, to be a question in the minds of those who are asleep, to be a mirror for those who are pretending to be a voice where silence has ruled for too long. And yes, it will cost you. Not everyone will applaud this new you. Some will be offended by your freedom. Some will call your clarity cold. Some will call your boundaries selfish. Let them. Heaven calls it maturity. Heaven calls it obedience. Heaven calls it deliverance. You've served too long in rooms that never saw your worth. You've given too much to hearts that only knew how to take. But I allowed it, because even that built you. Even those scars taught you. Even those detours were part of the path. But now I'm calling you to new ground, not recycled, not familiar, new, unseen, unmapped. You won't have a blueprint this time. You'll have me. You won't have full instructions. You'll have my whisper. You'll have to trust like never before, but you'll walk in authority like never before too. Because I've refined you. Your faith has been tested. Your heart has been cleansed. And now you are ready for the weight of what's next. Don't look for familiar. Look for fruit. Don't ask who's going with you. Ask who's aligned with the mission. Because alignment matters now, more than appearance, more than personality, more than history. It's not about who's been with you the longest. It's about who carries the sound of heaven for this moment. And some of those people haven't entered your life yet, but they will. They're being positioned. Even now, I'm speaking to them in dreams. I'm shifting their plans to match yours. And when you meet them, you'll know, because peace will. Speak not hype, not charm. Peace, my child. You need to prepare your soul, because the next open door will stretch you. You'll be asked to do things you've never done, say things you've never said, stand in places you never thought you'd qualify for, and your first instinct will be to retreat, to disqualify yourself, to play it small, but don't remember who sent you. You didn't climb into this by chance. You were placed here, and you carry weight, the kind of weight that shifts atmospheres, the kind that changes rooms, the kind that breaks old cycles with a single word, but only when you believe it, only when you accept what I've already placed in you. So stop discrediting yourself. Stop minimizing your anointing. Stop second-guessing the grace I gave. You don't have to look like anyone else. You don't have to prove anything. You just have to carry what's yours, the mantle, the message. The moment it's all coming together. Now you won't need to chase. You won't need to manipulate. You won't need to perform. Just show up. Show up in truth. Show up in power. Show up in faith. Because I will meet you there, and your Father will be standing beside you, watching in spirit. This is what He prayed for. Not your perfection, but your becoming. Not your popularity, but your peace. Not your performance, but your purpose. He knows that the battle wasn't in your hands, it was in your identity. And now you know it too. The war wasn't about what you did, it was about who you were always meant to be. And now that you're waking up, the enemy is terrified, because nothing is more dangerous than a soul that finally remembers who they are. You remember, now don't forget it again. Even when it gets hard, even when familiar voices try to drag you backward, even when you're old, self tries to resurrect, don't forget what heaven said. Don't forget what your Father spoke. You are marked, you are chosen, you are protected, and you are not turning back. Not now, not after all it took together. Your story doesn't end in fear. It begins in fire, the fire of clarity, the fire of calling, the fire of divine purpose, and nothing can extinguish that. Now, so take a deep breath and know this. You are right on time. You are seen. You're loved. You are equipped, and you are enough. Not because of what you carry, but because of who carries you. I carry you always, even when no one else sees you, even when your voice breaks, even when your knees tremble. I carry you, because I've never left, and I never will. Now go, the next season is already waiting. This part of your journey requires something deeper. Not more strength, but more surrender. Not louder prayers, but quieter trust. You've done enough pushing. You've done enough striving. Now I'm asking for stillness, because in this next season, it won't be your effort that opens the doors. It will be my presence. I don't need you to make things happen. I need you to recognize what I'm already doing. There's a holy disruption taking place. Things that once worked won't anymore. Relationships that once felt right will now feel misaligned. Places that once brought peace will now stir unrest. Don't resist this. It's me rearranging your world to match what I've placed inside you. You asked for clarity, I'm giving it, but clarity will cost comfort. You asked for a sign, I'm showing it, but signs require response. You can't keep praying for transformation while clinging to the very things I'm asking you to release. This is your line in the sand. You either step over it or you stay in circle. Cycles of almost, cycles of emotional noise, cycles of unfinished healing. I'm not calling you to visit freedom. I'm calling you to live in it and to live there. You have to stop shrinking. when your spirit stretches. Stop dimming your fire. When others feel threatened by your light, stop explaining your peace to people who benefit from your confusion. You are not responsible for making others comfortable with your calling. Your Father knows this. That's why He asked me to say this clearly. He watched you be quiet when you should have spoken. He watched you say yes when your heart was screaming. No, He saw how much it cost you just to keep the peace, but now it's time for a different kind of peace. Not the kind that keeps you silent, the kind that sets you free. It's time for boundaries, spiritual ones, emotional ones, even relational ones. You have nothing to prove. You're not here to audition. You're here to fulfill something holy, and that can't happen if you're constantly explaining your worth to those who are blind to it. Stop giving front row seats in your life to people who only show up to criticize the performance. This next version of you is not for spectators, it's for warriors, it's for builders, it's for people who pray in silence and show up in storms. And those people are coming. I've heard your prayer for your tribe. They're being called even now, but before they arrive, I need you to clear the space emotionally, mentally, spiritually. I'm not just replacing people, I'm refining your standards. You've accepted crumbs for too long now. I'm teaching you how to expect the feast, not because you're entitled, but because you're finally healed enough to receive it. There's no more room for half love, no more space for false loyalty, no more tolerance for confusion, disguised as care. This is not bitterness speaking. This is maturity. You've grown. Don't apologize for it, celebrate it. Tand, in Ithanor, what it took to get here, because your Father saw it all. He saw the nights you almost gave up. He saw the days you smiled through heaviness, and now He watches as you rise, not perfectly, but truly, not quickly, but deeply. You're not the same, and that's the point. This part of your life is not about repairing what was, it's about building what's next, and what's next requires new level of focus, new level of faith. You won't always feel it, but you don't need to feel it to obey. You need to move on. My word, you need to act on my whisper. You need to speak when I nudge you. Obedience will open what striving never could. I'm not just asking you to believe. I'm asking you to trust me blindly, even when the path makes no sense, even when the door looks too small, even when the vision terrifies you. Move anyway, because I go before you. You won't be walking into darkness. You'll be walking into fulfillment. Everything you thought was lost, I'm redeeming. Everything you thought was too broken, I'm rebuilding. But I can't rebuild on a foundation of fear, so I'm tearing down the lies that you're not enough, that you've missed your moment, that your mistakes disqualified you, Lise. Every one of them. You are still in the center of my plan, and my plan accounts for your pain. It includes your setbacks. It weaves in your detours. You haven't ruined anything, you've just been refined. And now the gold can rise. Now the truth can lead. Now your voice can carry what I've placed inside it, but use it wisely, not to retaliate, not to be louder, but to be clear. Let your yes be solid, let your no be holy, let your words carry weight, not volume. Because what I'm about to do, through you will echo, generations will feel, it chains will break, because of it, lives will shift. Under the weight of your obedience, and your Father will watch it all. He's not gone. He's not far. He's closer now than He ever was. In spirit, in glory, and legacy. And when you speak the truth, He smiles. When you walk in purpose, He stands. When you refuse to break, weeps with joy, because this is what He prayed for. Not a life without pain, but a life that turns pain into purpose. A life that reflects heaven in the middle of the storm. And that's exactly what you're becoming. Not just healed, but holy, not just free, but dangerous to every lie that ever tried to bury. Walk forward, don't rush, but don't delay. Let the pace be led by peace, not pressure, and trust that I will never let you walk alone. This is the moment where your past no longer owns your story, where your wounds no longer decide your worth, This is the shift from surviving to thriving, from waiting to walking, from wondering to knowing. You are ready. Even if you don't feel like it, you are prepared. Even if your hands still tremble, you are chosen. Even if you've been overlooked by people, you were seen by heaven, and that's enough. Your qualifications come from obedience, not approval, from faith, not fame. This is not the end of your journey. This is the start of your awakening. The world has seen your pain. Now they will see your power. They've heard your silence. Now they will hear your strength. This is the season where alignment meets assignment, where clarity meets courage, where identity meets purpose, and nothing can stop what's been ordained. You may still feel the echo of old fears, but you won't be ruled by them. You may still hear the whispers of doubt, but you won't follow them. You will rise and rise again, not because it's easy, but because it's written. You are light. You are truth. You are a carrier of heaven's fire. Don't forget that. When the days feel long and the answers seem far, don't forget that. When you're walking alone and no one claps for you, heaven is watching, and heaven never forgets. You are not behind. You are on schedule. You are not broken. You are being rebuilt. You are not weak. You are being made new. So trust the breaking, trust the pruning, trust the process. Because I'm not wasting your pain. I'm multiplying your purpose. I'm not delaying you. I'm deepening you. I'm not punishing you. I'm positioning you for something greater, for something eternal. This is your calling, not to impress, but to impact, not to fit in, but to stand out, not to blend, but to blaze. You were made for such a time as this, so don't look back, don't shrink now. You've come too far, go silent, too deep to turn shallow, too free to live bound. This is your moment. Say yes to your healing, say yes to your mission, say yes to the you were always meant to become, not the version others expected, but the one heaven designed. Now breathe, release again, grieve what needs grieving, but don't stay in mourning. This is a resurrection season. Dead things are leaving, but living things are rising, and you're one of them. Walk tall, not because you're proud, but because your whole walk forward. Not because it's easy, but because it's time. Walk with power, not to dominate, but to liberate. You are a doorway, a bridge, a light tower, a healer. Your presence is a prophecy, and your voice is a weapons. Oh, speak, move, arise, I am with you. I go before you, and when you doubt again, read this again here, me again. I never left, I never stopped choosing you. This is not just inspiration, this is instruction. This is not hypey, this is holy. Receive it, live it, breathe it. And if this message spoke to your soul, if something awakened inside, you don't let the moment pass. Type I receive in the comments as a declaration of faith, as a sign to heaven that you heard me. And if someone came to mind while listening, send this to them, let them receive what heaven is saying. Subscribe if you know this won't be the last time heaven speaks to you here. Click the bell so you never miss a word, because this is more than content. This is a divine appointment, and you just stepped into it.